Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. I'm Nimesh, Radia, and I'm your host. Always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the impact it has, the people it reaches. I started it as a passion project with maybe one episode every couple of months, and now we release 2 a week. Nothing's scripted, nothing's edited, so whatever comes through, comes through. I love getting the emails and messages we get on a weekly basis. Just the impact this podcast is having, the people it's reaching. It's like what I hear the most is, I feel like you're talking directly to me, and I love that. So, if you're a regular listener to this podcast, welcome back. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. If you're new, welcome. And if anyone has any feedback, anything you want us to cover, please do let us know. And a reminder, it does help if you like, comment, share each episode, whichever resonates. And an intro for me, I'm an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. And what I get to do is I get to guide people on their journey. I get to hold their space and really kind of see people going through that shift. And I was talking to a client today, kind of reminded me, and she was like, because I anticipate things, I don't even know where they come from. And she's like, you were right about some changes that happen in the world. And I was like, thank you. But it's not for me. I'll always say anything that comes through me is not mine. So I love what I get to do. So if my voice resonates, Stacey's voice resonates, reach out to us. Maybe we're meant to guide you. This podcast wouldn't be where it is today without my beautiful, my stunning, my extraordinary published author co-host, Stacey Brown. Stacey, I got to do it, and I change up the words a little bit, but over to you.
Thanks, buddy. Hi, friends. It's so good to be back. I'm really looking forward to spending time with all of you again. And I look at this as some of my quality time with Nimesh too. So I'm looking forward to it. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I am also an Akashic record reader and a spiritual coach and mentor. And I think the thing that I love the most about the work that we do is that we get to build a relationship with our client. And there's a bond that's formed as you're navigating through challenging stuff. And I'm really experiencing that right now with my clients. That feeling of a kindred spirit helping you navigate through challenging times. It's been something really beautiful. And if you're interested in working with us, please reach out. I also want to mention that I had a really cool interaction with one of our listeners this week. I got a message. I'll just use the initial J and say, thank you for the message. Thank you for reaching out and saying you've been listening for years. Nimesh and I love hearing from our listeners like this. It's a very powerful thing to know that we're making an impact, and we're really grateful for all of you. So I just want to say thanks again for listening in and being a part of this journey with us. I mean, Nims, we've been doing this for how long now?
So I started in October 2020, and you joined in some point in 2021. So probably somewhere like 5 years. I have no idea when we first started kind of recording together, but I'm guessing 5 years. So
Wow. That's amazing.
Isn't it crazy? What this episode will be something like 384, I think. Nearly 400. We're getting there.
Wow.
Wow, exactly. So, and also before we jump into the topic, I just I remembered that. Look, so we're recording this. So, in full disclosure, we're recording this on Thursday, the 18th. But the day we release it will be the day after summer solstice. So before we jump into the topic, and I feel like this topic's related, this is the beginning of a new season. We've just been through spring. Spring is all about new beginnings. And summer's about really kind of whatever we've begun in spring kind of really starts to come through. And I feel like we're in the phase of new beginning. I still feel like we're in an energy and a vibration where we've got to take intentional steps. And not big steps, not many steps, just one step at a time. So as we jump into this episode, and I congratulate you for being in this new season. And by the way, it depends where you're at. I'm talking the hemisphere we're in is it's summer. So the opposite end of the world, obviously, you have a different vibration. But either way, it's still a new season. So welcome to this new season. And actually, I recorded this on the 18th. Like I said, it would have been Sidra's birthday yesterday. So I'm wishing Sidra, anyone that regular listens to this episode, knows that she's my mentor, my friend that's in the other realm, and wishing her a heavenly birthday. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about what if nothing needs fixing? And this feels so appropriate because we're all going through something right now. It feels like everybody's shifting in some kind of way. And on this spiritual journey, it always feels like, and I talk a lot about it, everything that's happening to you is happening to you for a reason. And it is helping you, is serving you in a way, but it doesn't always mean that, everything that happens to you does support you. But you don't have to kind of analyze everything that happens to you and say, what's my reason? What am I expanding? Sure, the bigger things, 100%. That there's so as you process it, but I actually don't believe any of us need fixing. I feel like we are exactly where we're meant to be. And it's that premise that kind of drives me on a day-to-day basis. I don't need fixing. So as we start this episode, how does that feel to you? Do you feel that you need fixing? Do you feel that something's wrong with you? I mean, so many of us as we walk through this life feels like something's wrong with us. And that could be because of things that we did in our childhood. It could be things we did last week. But again, I don't actually believe in mistakes. Because everything you do, even if it feels like a mistake, is a growth opportunity. So could you embrace the possibility that you're perfect in this moment, in exactly where you're meant to be? I'm not saying you don't have healing to do. Of course, we all have healing to do, right? The day I stop healing, the day I stop expanding, learning, is probably the day that I leave this realm. So I'm not saying anyone that says they're fully healed, I always kind of smile because the universe has a way of reminding us there's always healing to do. But just because we need healing doesn't mean we're broken. Just because we've been through something traumatic doesn't mean we're broken. Because everything we've gone through is what our soul chose. It's going to make us stronger. So as we start this episode, I'm asking you, do you feel you need fixing? Can you embrace the premise that you're not broken and nothing needs fixing? And then you go on through this journey with that thought, but you know what? I don't need fixing. Because the thing with this journey, especially the spiritual journey, it's almost like, I need to do this, and must need to do something different, sometimes you just got to breathe. And I feel like this phase we're in right now, breathing and being present and getting to know this version of you is the most important thing. But Stacey, when I say to you, I love putting you on the spot, you're not broken. You're beautiful and perfect in the way that you currently are. Does that resonate? How does that make you feel when I say nothing needs fixing?
This is, this has been a challenge for me for a lot of my life, feeling like I needed to fix something, do something, shift something, change something. And if I did that, then, and fill in the blank. I feel as I have gone deeper in my journey, I have recognized that I'm a soul having a human experience. And I was contracted to do this. I signed up for this. And so I try really hard to stay in that space as much as possible. I think we all have times where darkness sets in, where we think, if I did this or if I did that, then I would be this or I would feel that. And I think it can be a very common thing to be in that space, Nims. I think a lot of people struggle with this. Lately, I have been finding that women have been drawn to me who are going through divorces. And a lot of them are coming to me feeling broken, especially due to the circumstances of like their individual circumstances. There's been a lot of like infidelity and that kind of thing. And I think one of the most challenging things is to understand that we're not broken. Just because someone left the marriage or was unfaithful doesn't mean there's something wrong and broken with you, the individual. And I've been working with clients on this lately, and it seems to be a theme, Nims, where the people that I'm seeing are feeling like they're not enough and they have to fix something.
Yeah, I mean, I completely resonate in terms of what you're saying is that the energy right now is intense. It is. We feel like something's shifting, something new's coming. We're in that void where our old life doesn't feel comfortable and one new life isn't created. So, and it isn't comfortable. A lot of soul contracts are coming to an end. And I mean, I say this quite often with the work that we do, especially when I think about a lot of recent clients. There's typically one or two things happen, and that is your relationships get stronger, or you start to split. You start to become disjointed and separate. And there's no right or wrong in that, right? Because what happens is, and if you're watching a video, but what happens is when you raise your vibration, when you go down this spiritual journey, you start to raise your vibration, you start to do the work, you start to put pressure on those around you to raise their vibration too. And it's not your choice. But if they don't raise their vibration, then the only way that you can be together is if you lower your vibration. And the thing is, that's what a soul contract looks like, right? The soul contract looks like at some point you were aligned, at some point you loved each other. But what if the soul contract was there to guide you to be loved, but also then to feel the pain of separation, to feel the pain of your heart being broken? To really, what it is your expectation. When you got married, you had expectations of what your life was going to look like. But a lot of those expectations and things that we had for our lives actually are not true. And it's like when we're upset, when we're unhappy, when we're feeling, in many ways, what we're mourning is the old version of ourselves. We're mourning the expectations of how our life is going to look. And this is why, if you are going through a shift, if you are going through something painful, right now it kind of feels like a lot of us are, and feels like a divinely timed moment. And this is a time to fall in love with you. This is a time for you to accept you've done nothing wrong. But it's also time for you to reach out, maybe ask help, ask for guidance. So we're shifting into a phase where co-creation, collaboration, community is so much more important. You don't have to walk this path on your own. But the most important thing in this life is your intention. What's your intention in this moment? Your intention is to fix yourself, then I would just look in the mirror and just remind yourself you don't need fixing. Remind yourself that your soul chose to be here and you needed, you wanted. And know that actually, this phase we've just been through and we're, maybe entering a new phase is intense. And it forces you to look at yourself in the mirror. But just because you are being challenged and pushed to change doesn't mean you need fixing. If you're listening to this, if you're here on this planet, I would say to you, your soul was chosen. This planet is going through a shift like never before. But you don't need fixing. What you need to do is realize that you have a beautiful light and shine it unconditionally. And I agree with Stacey. I see so much with the work that we do of cycles coming to an end. And sometimes that means separation. But again, if you are splitting, if the soul contract is coming to an end, what if it was meant to? What if whatever is here for you next requires you to cut those ties to finish that soul contract? And of course, if you've got kids, etc., that it just means that a new soul contract is formed, a co-parenting soul contract. And who knows if that's going to be eased in grace or going to be painful? But it's a separate soul contract. So again, once you start looking at your life and realizing it doesn't need fixing, it starts to give you a different way of looking at it. But this journey is intense. This period is intense. So maybe you've also got to accept that this period is intense and take time to fall in love with you. Stacey and I love putting you on the spot. How are you falling in love with yourself? How are you accepting this version of you in all its beauty, in all its grace?
So I think it's several things because we're embracing all parts of ourselves, right? Mind, body, spirit. And so I think physically, I'm really conscious of like what I put in my body and how much I put in my body so that I can feel like the healthiest version of me. I've definitely gotten more active. Thank goodness for warm weather because that's helped so much to get out and about a little bit more. For my mind and my spirit, I do a lot of journaling, Nims, and we've talked about this on here so much. I'm probably driving our audience crazy with it, but it's been such a tool for me to process things. And the technique that I use ensures that when I close the journal, I feel better. I feel like I've been productive. I don't just dump words on a page. I think having a daily practice of gratitude has also been huge for me. And that's part of my journaling, right? But just being super intentional about what I'm grateful for and really conscious of those things, the little things, makes a huge difference. So I think there's a lot of different things that I do to fall in love with myself, to be in a space of accepting myself. It's taken me, I'm going to be 50 this year, friends. It has taken me this many years to really embrace who I am. It's taken me that long to get to this space of feeling good about myself on a regular basis. And it was work. I'm sure there are going to be listeners who are sitting there going, well, how do I do this? Like, where do I start? And it's been quite a journey for me. I mean, it was going through the self-discovery and having somebody walk alongside me through it. That really gave me more of an awareness of who I am. And from that space, I could learn to accept her, right? And that's been such a powerful process, but it's been a lengthy one, Nims. What about for you? What do you do?
It's interesting because when you were answering that question, I was sitting there. So, if you listen to the recent podcast, I ran a spiritual retreat in Glastonbury, like 10 days ago, and it was beautiful. Such an expansive. I loved it so much, and but on the last day when I was walking, I spent an extra day on my own, just kind of wanted to integrate. And on the last day, just did more walking than I normally do, and just I'd obviously been standing for the 3 or so days the retreat was running, and something happened to my foot, and yeah, it was on the mend. A few days like I couldn't do the normal physical activity I normally do, etc. And it was getting better, but the last few days it's kind of started to get worse again. It's like, and it's like whenever something's happened to me foot wise, even when I used to attend Cedar Soul Spas, it was always been the right. It used to be the right ankle, and this was the right foot, which is the masculine energy. So it is a little frustrating that I can't do the normal walking and stuff that I do, but And if I was to be honest, it is frustrating. But at the same time, journaling, I can still spend time in nature. I can still spend time in meditation, still spend time in my own energy, my own vibration. So I've been doing more of that. There's still times I get frustrated, of course. I'm having a human experience, but when I start working with people, even for years, even when I was in the corporate space, I'd always recommend three things. First thing is 10-minute silence, and the silence. Everyone says I can't meditate. I'm not asking you to meditate. I'm asking you to spend 10 minutes in silence. And if a thought comes in, let it come, let it go. It's not about you stopping your thoughts. It's about letting them be. And then over time, you'll find your thoughts will get less. And if they don't worry about it. But do that for 21 days and your mind starts to get a little quiet and you can listen to your heart and soul. The other thing I always recommend is mirror work. Because we spend so much time loving our physical body. How much time do we spend loving ourselves on the inside? And what mirror work does is allow you to heal on the inside. You look into your eyes, or one eye into the mirror, and you just connect with you on the inside and just say whatever's in your heart. I always recommend, I thank you, I appreciate you, I love you. I thank you, I appreciate you, I love you. And the other thing is Stacey already talked about journaling, because 1 and 2 is going to bring stuff up for you. And it's just, but do what resonates with you to lift your soul up. Because the other thing we haven't talked about is, on this spiritual journey, we put more pressure on ourselves to heal ourselves. And I know I do it. It's like when I'm working with clients and stuff, I hold space. I allow people to be. But I put more pressure on myself than I probably should. And sometimes when you're working on yourself, you become your biggest project. You feel like, you need to do more, you need to do more. The pressure with what we do in terms of being a spiritual mentor and everything else, I feel like we put extra pressure on ourselves. And this is the thing, is like, we're all work in progress. Doesn't matter what I've done, how much healing work I've done. And yeah, I fully own that, I've done a lot of work on me, and I feel very calm. I feel very present. I feel like people I work with feel that. That doesn't mean I'm not human. That doesn't mean I need to. So the thing to always remember is be gentle with yourself. Maybe consider how you treat other people, and maybe treat yourself the same way, with the same love, the same holding space, the same kindness. Because remember, your soul never said you were broken. The soul has always loved you unconditionally. On the spiritual journey, I remember when I started my spiritual awakening, I had some dark magic done to me. And then when I kind of went through that and I found spirituality, the first thing I did was looking to be fixed. Give me a meditation, give me a program, and all of a sudden I'll be fixed. And over time I realized I don't need to be fixed. All the love, the joy, the answers are all inside of me. And that's the other thing I'd say, is make sure that you fall in love with you and realize that the love you seek is the love from within you. Everything you need is inside you. It's your ego that convinces you you're not enough. Your soul never says that you've been broken. Source, your guides love you unconditionally. They love you as you are. Stacey, again, thank you for sharing so vulnerably. Thank you for being so open and sharing. I'm just, if somebody's struggling with this and thinking, well, you know what? I've got all this work to do. I feel like I made this mistake. It's a story we tell ourselves, which, it's a story. But if somebody's listening and saying, well, these guys are talking about somebody else because I need fixing, what would your advice be?
I think the first thing to acknowledge or remember is that the ego is really loud. And chances are, if you're feeling this way, it's your ego, not your soul. And that's a whole different space. Okay. When we're in that space, our thoughts tend to be a little more harsh, abrasive, negative, whatever you want to say, intense. And so I think it's important to acknowledge that first. Okay. Before anything else, you've got to acknowledge, okay, this is my ego, not my soul talking. The next thing I think you've got to do is find a space where you can start to unpack some of what you're carrying, whether that be through a mentor and working with a mentor, whether that be through journaling, whether that be through confiding in a confidant or close friend or family member. I really feel that we have to acknowledge what we're feeling in some kind of way, in some safe space, in order to be able to release it. I don't know about our listening audience, but for me, I have to process things verbally to be able to work through it, whatever it is, whatever issue I'm facing. I have to talk it out. And without being able to talk it out, I get very frustrated and things bottle up. So I would encourage you to find a space to process it. And then you can start changing your actions to align with what you feel is the best thing for you. But I also think it's important to ask yourself, are you being hard on yourself, or is this coming from someone else? I think that's another really important point, because sometimes what you're feeling isn't even yours. Just remember that.
It's interesting. That's exactly what I was, it's almost like you read my mind because, when we do this work and then when we start to raise our vibration, you've got to bear in mind that the people around you may not be doing the same. So sometimes the people around you want to keep you stuck. They may not even realize they're doing it. That's why sometimes this journey can feel isolated. But it's really important for you to, right now, more than ever, really look at your soul family, look at your circle, and really ask, do they allow me to be me? Do they bring my energy down? Do they lower my vibration? And if they do, then maybe it's time to find a new circle. And I make that sound easy. And if some of it involves your blood family, and sometimes it's hard, but you can still take your power back. It's a choice to give your power away. And everybody in your external world is a result of something in your internal world. So if somebody's keeping your energy low or kind of trying to control you, there's a part of you that's not ready to be free. So starting off with having an honest conversation with yourself and actually really considering about how you're spending your time. Stacey mentioned it earlier. Not just what you eat, where you spend your time, who you spend your time with. It's such a clue. I always recommend looking at the top 5 people in your life and just ask, is my soul contract complete? Do they lift me up or do they drain me? And, as we finish this phase, maybe it is time to make some difficult decisions. The only person that can make those decisions is you. But here's the thing, once you take a little step forward, the universe wants to help you. And, the role that that voice in your head plays, we haven't really delved into it, but it's your ego. And the thing is, everybody talks about pushing your ego, killing your ego, whatever that means. I don't buy into that. Your ego is a part of who you are. But ultimately, your ego wants to keep you safe. That's why when your ego talks to you about, you're not being enough or maybe not taking this risk or playing it safe, it's doing it from a place of love. It wants you not to change. Because if you change, what if you fall? What if you get upset? What if your heart gets broken? Think about how much change you've gone through the last few years. And is it a surprise that your ego wants to? But here's the thing, this is the time where you've got to talk to your ego and let your ego know that you don't need protecting. Take your ego, the human part of you, on your journey with you, but don't let it control you. Your ego is a powerful part. It's like when I talk about trusting your intuition, if you close your eyes and you ask a question, the answer is normally quiet. It's normally the first thing that comes through is gentle. It's your ego that's loud, it's brash, it's emotional. If you have a question, if you close your eyes and just ask it inside, how does it make you feel inside? You have so many clues. If you speak it out loud, how does it feel in your throat? you struggle to say it, then it's probably not something you should do. So I guess this part of it is, one, are you letting your ego take over? Two, are you trusting your intuition, your own body, your own signals that you're receiving? And Stacey, as I asked you the question, how much do you feel your ego has control over you?
I would say there are moments where the ego takes over for sure. But I would also say there's moments where I listen to my soul. I think that there are times where we can be more vulnerable to listening to our ego, whether it's that we're tired or we're stressed or we're anxious or, we have other stuff going on, our life is busy. That ego can take over, right? But I wouldn't say that it's all the time. There are definitely times where I listen to my soul. The other thing that I want to mention is I think it's really important to lean into the people that you're close to kind of do an inventory for you. If you're feeling like you can't evaluate for yourself where you are, ask some close friends, ask them, do they see you? See what their feedback is about you. Sometimes seeing ourselves through the eyes of our friends and family can change the way that we view ourselves. It can be a little jolt, a little wake up away from the ego and into the soul. I really believe those who love us see the best in us and they enhance that. And that also raises our vibration. And I think it's really, really important to lean into those relationships if you're having a hard time navigating your way through it yourself. If you're in a space where you feel like you need fixing and you're not quite sure, first do the personal inventory. Then reach out to those people that you love. Ask them, how do you see me? Do you think I need fixing? Right? Get some honest feedback. I think it can be powerful when we see ourselves through the eyes of those who love us. So that's why I encourage you to do that, especially if you're going through a dark season. If you're going through a dark season, sometimes it can be really, really hard to get the ego to be quiet. The ego wants to take over. It wants to rule. And if you're going through something challenging, sometimes it can be really, really hard to navigate through that. I hope that answers the question. It's kind of long-winded.
No, it's perfect. And I couldn't agree with you more. The only caveat I'd give is pick wisely. Pick those vibrations, those souls that lift you up. Because remember what I said earlier, it's like, some people want to keep you stuck. Some people don't want to really, and feel the energy and the vibration when you speak to somebody. How does it make you feel? What part of your heart touch you? I have the conversation about blood family quite often. It's because our programming says our blood family is meant to love us. So maybe pick those people that have been there for you, have held your space. And sure, ask the others too, but again, feel the vibration of the answers, right? A lot of the time, if you trust your intuition, it's what's not said that is actually more powerful than what is. But I agree with Stacey. Go on that journey of discovery. Ask people questions, and even people that you meet generally. Just how does my energy feel? It's just when you become curious, and from a place of non-judgment. By the way, it's like if you ask somebody a question and you kind of get defensive over it. Obviously, then that's a different reaction. Feedback is a blessing. So be open to it. Feel the vibration of it. Like we said here, this is a phase of asking for help. This is a phase of really looking at who's in your community and leaning on them. And as Stacey said earlier, maybe maybe you're looking for guidance. And there's so many supportive communities. I mean, I have my membership. Stacey has a Facebook group for women only, our mentorship program, but there's so many others. So whatever you resonate with, maybe it's time to join a community. Maybe it's time to get help. Maybe it's time because asking for help is a sign of strength. But yeah, talking to your community, talking to those that hold your space lovingly, beautiful idea. I love it. And there's also freedom that comes from accepting who you are today. You just close your eyes and just allow yourself to feel everything inside you. What if you can trust you unconditionally? What if you can feel the energies and the vibrations around you? What if you can feel how much you've been held? And what if in this moment you can completely trust who you are? Trust that your soul chose to be here. Trust that you're a powerful force that's just working through stuff. Because the power you seek, the love you seek actually is inside you. And sometimes just closing your eyes and feeling the energy and the vibration of that is super powerful. And the thing is, when I talk about healing, the first stage I always talk about is awareness. And how do you become more aware? You become more aware by changing your question. How is this serving me? What is this soul contract teaching me? What is this phase teaching me? And being open to this. Once you become more aware, once you start asking these questions, you open a doorway to really understanding who you are at a deeper level. But the harder part of this journey is accepting who you are in this moment, accepting that you're not broken. And many times that's harder than transforming, accepting who you are. And the other thing I find people doing through this phase is illusion that, you know what, I'm going to start working on myself. I'm going to start doing these things. I'm going to be happy when this phase is done. There's no this phase is done. When you integrate, when you learn from the lessons, that's when you move on to the next phase. So what if you can focus on the joy in this moment? What if your breakthrough, your love for you is in this moment? And the other thing we'll move on to is holding space for others. That's the beauty of this journey. It's what I love doing the most is I'm holding space. I'm not fixing anybody. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm intuitively holding people's space while they go through a shift. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm telling you, you have the capability of doing the same. It's our programming that says we need to fix people. If somebody's crying, the first thing we want to do is jump in and hold their space. So crying is a beautiful thing. Well, what makes us think we need to go and fix people? Give them a tissue, sure. Give them a hug. But don't jump in and try and fix them. And holding space, actually as a mentor, was probably one of the toughest things I had to do. Because we all have a big heart. I have a big heart. I feel when somebody's going through pain. So when I started on this journey, the first thing I wanted to do was jump in and fix it. Plus, you had the male energy to that too, right? We love fixing things. But actually, what I've learned is nobody needs fixing. So what if you listen to this and ask yourself the question: if somebody's going through something, do I jump in and try and fix it? Or do I hold space for them to really try and understand what they're going through? Because I love the phrase, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So what if when we try and stop somebody's pain, we're actually stopping them from growing? I know with so many of my clients, that's been one of the toughest things, but actually it's the biggest breakthrough. When they realize that actually the people around them don't need fixing. It was when I started on the spiritual journey and I started truly activating my gifts, the first thing was, oh my God, I want to help everybody. It's like my family, my friends, here I am, here I'm the hero. And I realized, well, one, not everybody's ready, and two, no everyone's assigned to me, and three, nobody needs fixing. But holding space while we're going through the shift, 100% is something you can do. The other thing you can do is active listening. It's like if you're having a conversation with somebody, are you present? Are you listening to what they're saying? Or are you thinking about what you can have for dinner? Or are you thinking about how you're going to respond? Holding space and listening at heart and soul level is a super powerful thing to do. And when you do that for others, when you listen, actually you start to listen to yourself more. The space for holding space for others, I know you do the same. How does it feel to you?
To hold space for others?
Yeah, to hold space and allow them to grow, allow them to be without jumping in. We talk about, we don't need fixing. But the same applies to the people in our world. What makes us think we need to fix them?
No, I love holding space for people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I think it's a beautiful thing when you can hold space for somebody, lovingly accepting who they are. And I think you can encourage growth and expansion at the same time. I think that's the beauty of it. And I also think that out of all of this, what if the greatest healing comes from realizing that you were not ever broken? What if that is the great lesson? What if that is the core of what this is learning to love and accept who you are as you are, that nothing needs fixing. You know, it's interesting because I spent so many years like trying to attain certain goals and push myself, and I've definitely been in, better physical shape in my life, but I've never embraced who I am more than I am right now. It's like with age comes wisdom, yes, but I also think it's what you do with that time and how you grow. And it's just been really powerful to see the level of self-acceptance that I have now versus the years that I struggled with it so greatly. And I struggled with it for a long time, Nims. And to see how far I've come and that I've learned to embrace all aspects of me, it's just a really beautiful thing. And it's something that I really passionately advocate for everybody to do, to go on that journey of self-discovery without beating yourself up and without trying to change who you are, but rather not just try to understand more about who you are. I think that's the thing, is you get the clarity of the aha moments when you unpack things. And it's not about necessarily changing who you are, but more about understanding who you are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that wanting to change who you are is still fixing yourself, right? It's that when I talk about awareness, acceptance, accepting is accepting who you are in this moment. Of course, you can continue to grow. Change is the only constant. But I tell you, for me, when I look back, when I realized that I don't need fixing, it was like a light bulb moment. It was like, wait, what? Because our programming says that we're broken. Our programming says that we should put everyone else first. Our programming says that, that 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 we're not enough. And by the way, again, sometimes I'm very conscious that we make this sound easy. It's a journey. I recognize that I'm not broken, but there's always times when I question it too, right? I'm a human too. Just know that, be gentle. The state says, be gentle with yourself. Know that you're very much loved by the universe. And this is the other challenge is, I feel like we're getting more love from our guides, from our ancestors. And sometimes this human journey can be lonely because people don't understand you. But maybe you got to stop looking for people to understand you and allow people to hold your space. But also maybe allow yourself to feel the love and the energy and the vibration from the different realm. Because once you start falling in love with you, once you start to meet the universe halfway, your guides will love you unconditionally. Like I said, once you appreciate that you were never broken, what if that leads to your greatest healing? Because the soul has never viewed you as broken. Source, your guides. If you start working with us, there's no judgment. None of us are broken. If you're going to work with somebody too, make sure you work with somebody who, in my view, doesn't tell you what to do, but guides you. You're a powerful being. Like I said, you've never been broken. It's only the human part, the ego, that part of you that maybe has believed you need fixing. And maybe there's people in your life that tell you need fixing. But knowing and accepting that you don't need fixing, you're not broken, is such a powerful step. I really hope this episode is encourage you to really fall in love with you, encourage you to accept that you're not broken. So Stacey, as we start closing this episode, have you got any journal prompts you'd like to share? Any final bits of wisdom?
I would encourage you to try writing a letter to yourself, okay, in the third person. And talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend and see what comes up in that letter to self. Very different than a journal prompt, I know, but just feels like the right thing to recommend. Dig deep, talk to yourself like you would a friend, and see what comes up in that interaction. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about where you are? How do you feel about who you are? See what comes up in that letter. And then, you know what? Reach out to us and let us know what that experience is like. We would love to hear from you.
Love it. Great idea. Love it. Love that idea. And yeah, like we said multiple times, if our voice resonates, if we can help, reach out. So much that we do that, if you're looking for that safe space, we do a monthly full moon webinar. I'll include the link in the show notes. It's at the end of the month. I can't remember the exact day, but it's around the full moon. It's free, 90 minutes of healing. I have a beautiful membership space, which is you can join for $29 a month. So many exclusive meditations. It's a beautiful holding space. I know Stacey has a Facebook community. There's so much that we do. Reach out for help, reach out for support, book a free discovery call. And even look, if it's not us, then look for the community that makes sense for you. Obviously, I'd love for it to be our community. I'd love to be my membership or Stacey's Facebook group. But we also know that, there's so many other beautiful spaces out there. Through this phase, and as I said to you at the beginning, is summer solstice. The solstice brings you a beautiful opportunity for new beginnings. Whether the sun's shining, where you are or not, what if there's a beautiful opportunity with this new vibration for you to fall in love with you? For you to take time for you, for you to truly feel the energy and the vibration and know that you're not broken. You are perfect in exactly where you are. We're sending you so much love and light, and I truly hope you feel that. And as we've said multiple times, reach out, DM us, give us feedback, let us know how this episode impacted you. And like I said at the beginning, please do like, share, and comment. I'm sending you so much love and light. Stacey, as always, thank you for being in this space with me. It's always so expansive, so loving. Thank you for being you. Thank you to everyone that joined. And bye for now.